If you're a newish coach in the first couple of months of your business, or even a more experienced coach who just feels like you're hitting a brick wall and shouting into the abyss of the internet and getting nothing back, then stay tuned. I'm going to be giving you some really honest advice about things that you can change and do differently to help your business grow. Let's dive in. Hi there, welcome to the Wholehearted Business Show. I'm Laura. I help health, life and spiritual coaches get more clients so they can generate more income and live their most aligned life. Now, today on the show, I wanted to just give some really honest advice to people who might be struggling right now in their businesses and growing their businesses. Because this shit is not easy, is it? Is it, guys? It's not easy. It can be hard. It can be difficult. You know, luckily there's ways that we can approach things to make it a bit easier, and just lots of things that we can do, and we can change how we think about things. So this is going to be really honest. I'm not going to beat about the bush here. What I do want to say before I start with some of these things is, and this is something I really try to channel when I'm working with people in my business as clients, as one-to-one clients, as clients in my group program and things like that, is I think one of the best tools that we have as business owners is our intuition and our gut feeling and what we know is right or isn't right for us. And I think when we give away our power to other people, whether that's me or businessy, guru-y people out there on the internet or another coach or whoever, we're doing ourselves a disservice. Take all of my honest thoughts with a pinch of salt. If it doesn't vibe or align with you, that is totally fine. I think that's really important, because I think we do such a massive disservice when we override that in ourselves because we think that someone else is better than us and therefore, like, you know, we shouldn't have an opinion or we should just do what they say. So I'm just really aware of that as we go into this episode. So please just take all of this with a pinch of salt. Take what kind of vibes, what doesn't, leave, and know that I honestly think that your gut and your intuition will take you on the journey that you need to go on. That sounds extremely esoteric. Is that the right kind of term? It sounds a little bit woo, but hey, I am a little bit woo. There we go. So I wanted to do this episode of the show for coaches who have done their certification, who have got their website set up, they've got the branding, they've done what I call the fun bit, because for me, that is the fun bit. And they're at that point where they've done the setup, if you like, and now they're in that phase where it's shit, I need to get some clients now and I need to market myself and I need to make this work. And that honestly is the hardest. I really genuinely believe that is the hardest part of your business journey, is those few months when you are trying to figure this shit out, to get clients, to make it all work. That is a really tricky phase. And I just wanted to acknowledge that for you guys. If anyone is finding it tricky, like, that is a tricky time period, and often like that goes on for a few months, if not longer. So I think that's just really important, first of all, just to recognize that this is the hardest bit. If you can get through this bit, it does get easier at the other side, but this is the hardest bit. What doesn't help is that all the online business gurus out there are telling us that we should be making six figures after we started our businesses 4 months ago if we just post more reels on Instagram or whatever other bollocks that they say. And that is just not the truth. There will always be what I call unicorn coaches, where they do have that almost instantaneous overnight success, but the vast majority of people who start coaching businesses do not have their journey look like that. And I just think it's really important to acknowledge and recognize that. I think any other industry that you were getting into, any other industry that you were starting a business in, we seem to have, for some reason, completely different rules when it comes to coaching businesses. And I don't really know where this has come from. I think part of it has come from a lot of business gurus who sell this like it's an easy thing when it's not. Most other businesses wouldn't expect to break even for the first couple of years. Most other businesses or most other industries, you would have to train for several years before you would reach any kind of level of success. But for some reason, in the coaching industry, we expect to have success much, much, much more quickly. And that is just not the case for everybody. I do honestly believe that there's ways that you can accelerate that process. I wouldn't be a business coach if I didn't think that there was ways that you could accelerate that. But for the vast majority of people, it is going to take time. This is the tricky bit. Another thing, part of this is to remember, is that everyone has a different starting point. Now, Some coaches will start with a certain amount of resources available to invest in things. They will have a certain amount of social capital, which is basically who you know, because trust me, that does make a difference. If you know the right people, that can really help accelerate your journey, and lots of other things going on in the background that we don't know about that is going to impact how successful, and I use successful with like big air quotation marks, because what is success for one person is not success for another. So we need to also remind ourselves of that. So there's lots of different things that go into it. So it's almost like I don't want you to not have the highest expectations for yourself and to reach for really amazing goals, but I also don't want you to feel shit if you A, don't have a goal like that because it doesn't feel aligned, or B, don't reach it because everyone's situation is different. There's always going to be the unicorns, and like in most other industries, we have completely different expectations of what it takes and how much time it takes to reach a certain level of competency and success. So with all that in mind, it is going to take time. That's my first kind of thing to remind you of. It is going to take time. How much time? I wish that I could give you a definitive answer, but it is going to take time, probably a little bit longer than you think it's going to take, in terms of actually seeing clients coming in the door and making money and all of those things. It is going to take time. I think most people, and just to say as well, I don't want any of these things to come off like I'm talking down to you guys. I don't think you understand this, because I honestly think most of you wonderful humans who listen to the podcast, watch the show on YouTube, etc., read the blog post even, I think you guys get it. Like, you wouldn't be following me if you didn't get it, but sometimes it's nice to have a reminder. Basically, but it's going to take time, probably longer than you think. Yeah, it's going to take time. What I would say is, if you've been in this phase of your business, like that initial, you've got your website stuff set up, you are trying to get clients phase for over a year and you're not getting clients, then there's definitely something like either not connecting, not working, you don't have a strategy, you're not being consistent enough, something's not quite working there. But I think in my experience, it's mostly six months to a year to really see some progress, depending on that starting point, because that is so vitally important in this as well. Another thing as well is just a reminder that spontaneous client inquiries are going to be unlikely at the start of this phase of your business. So I call these spontaneous client inquiries because what we all want, what we all dream of, is that we will post a few bits on Instagram, maybe do a blog post here or there, do a bit of that, and we will just suddenly, someone will contact us on our contact form on our website and want a discovery call, and that person on the discovery call will book in and work with us as a client. That's what we all want, right? That is easy, spontaneous client inquiries. Amazing. Again, the honest to God truth is that takes some time. Like, I've got a client right now, I've been working with her for about 4 months, and she got a spontaneous client inquiry, and it was absolutely amazing. And I was cheerleading her the whole way and so chuffed for her. And often that first one kind of like just greases the wheels, gets things moving, but they are unlikely because you need to build your business up to a certain volume of leads. And again, I'm not a big fan of this kind of dehumanizing language, but you need to build your business up to be getting a certain number of new people like interacting with your business, and not only interacting, but connecting with you and what it is that you stand for and what it is that you say that you can help them with. And if you imagine the amount of people that you need to be doing that with to get clients, like spontaneously contact you, potential clients, is a reasonable number. So at the start of your business, you have to think about your marketing in a slightly different way. And that's where a lot of people fall down, is that they just want to focus on, I'm just going to post on Instagram, or I'm just going to post on Facebook or whatever. And actually, that is not what is going to get clients at the start. You need a completely different strategy for getting clients at that point in your business. And speaking of social media and Instagram, again, I don't think this is news to anyone who's probably listening to this, but social media is not what it used to be. It really isn't. It used to be like 6-7 years ago, you could get a reasonable number of followers quite quickly and build up a platform, build up a community on social media, without it being like a massive slog. Whereas these days, even if you are posting like every single day on Instagram and doing all of the right things, creating really awesome content, it can still be like a massive slog. So I'm always a bit fearful when I hear people say, oh, my strategy is I'm going to post on Instagram, because that's not enough. And it's going to take a long time again, to get any spontaneous client inquiries from that, because again, we need to get up to a certain number of people kind of coming in touch with us in our businesses. We're not likely to go viral. Like, sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. More often than not, it doesn't happen. So we need to remember that with social media, for example, it's not going to be enough to get clients, particularly in this phase of business that you're in that initial bit, or if you're just generally hitting a brick wall with things, it's not going to be enough. So you need to be doing other things. And like I said before, at this stage in your business, there's other strategies that you need to be employing that is not necessarily social media. And I'm not saying don't do social media. Like, you can do social media if you want to do it. I've talked all about different ways to market your business without social media. I will put a link to that episode of the show if anyone wants to dive into that a bit more, how to market your coaching business without social media. But you can still use it. It's just about the effort that you're getting into, which I'm going to come on to in a sec as well. Again, don't just post on Instagram and expect that you're going to get an influx of clients, because it rarely works out like that, unless again you are one of the unicorns where you've already got like a network built up on there for some reason, or you know people who have a network built up on there, which is often the way it goes. Another thing about social media is that it doesn't give your business a lot of longevity or sustainability. Now, I've talked about this a lot. I bang on about this all the time because I want you guys to be creating businesses that are still here and thriving in 5 years' time. I don't want you to be a flash in the pan. I want you to have some kind of robustness there in your business. And for me, social media is not where we build that whatsoever. Where we do build that is with an email list. Spending some time, giving some energy to building an email list, and whether that is using that in conjunction with social media and bringing people from social media onto your list, or whether it's other kind of forms of content marketing. I talk a lot about content marketing in my business, blogging, podcasting, doing videos for YouTube, Pinterest, all of those things I cover in my Content Marketing for Coaches Club, by the way, if anyone wants to check that out. But that kind of form of marketing is going to give your business a foundation of sustainability, because it's going to help you build your list. And your list it's a great place to connect with people, to serve them, and yes, also to sell to them as well. So we don't want to be forgetting about our email list. And then something else to think about is how you work towards short and long-term goals. So this is an interesting one, and I think when you're in this kind of tricky phase of business, it's really easy to put 100% of your effort into the goals that you have just right now, which is probably getting clients. And to be honest, I wouldn't necessarily argue massively against that, but I do have a slight counter argument to that. What sometimes happens is we put all of our effort into one thing, like for example, Instagram or social media, and then we forget about creating that foundation underneath. Things like building your email list and other forms of content marketing, for example. What the problem with that is that you can get an influx of clients from doing one thing, but then your business doesn't have a foundation, is what I want to say. And the tricky thing is, email-based marketing, long-form content marketing like blogging, podcasting, YouTube videos, Pinterest is a slow burn. Like I've said this multiple times as well, it is a slow burn. You are not going to get clients potentially in the first 6 months from that. It's going to take longer. It is a longer term option. So you need to understand that if that's going to be your strategy. And if you're okay with that, then that's amazing. I've got some clients who are like, actually, Laura, I'm really happy to take the longer route and do something that feels better to me. And that is totally fine as well. So what I tend to think of doing is think about 70% of your time is being spent on things that are going to help you get closer to your immediate goals, which is probably getting more clients in this stage of business. And then 30% of your time on something that is building a sustainable foundation that is going to bring you clients, but is going to probably bring you clients over time rather than right now. So that's the way that I would approach it. But again, in all honesty, there's no right or wrong here, really. What I want you guys to get is that things are going to take time. Just posting on social media and even the blog and stuff that I'm a massive proponent for is going to take time. There's things that you can do that can speed things up. There's different ways of getting clients, of marketing yourself. Those are the things you need to do. And I'm talking here about the high touch, what I call fast and cozy marketing. And I cover a lot of this. Actually, I've got a free training called the Aligned Client Marketing and Attraction Training. I think that's the long name for it. But I've got a free training where I go into all of this stuff in much, much more detail, actually. And I do talk about these other ways of marketing that you probably want to be doing in this stage to help your business get going at the start. So that's something I cover in that training in a much more detail than I can do here. So check that out if that is something that you want to have a look at. I'll put the link in the description so that you can go and sign up for that and get hold of it. And then finally, another thing related to time is to not get yourself caught in the procrasti branding or the procrasti course creation trap. Now, I say this as someone who has 100% done that multiple times, and who knows, I'll probably end up doing it again. But when this happens is when it comes to growing our businesses, and like I say, I mean, I'm the queen of this, honestly, there's stuff that is going to feel uncomfortable. In order to grow, we need to be doing things that can feel a bit uncomfortable. That's not to say that you completely obliterate your nervous system and throw yourself outside of your comfort zone in a huge, big way necessarily, but we do need to be taking small, consistent steps outside of our comfort zone. And what sometimes we do though is we just come back to the safe, the fun things that we think are growing our businesses, and that kind of, you can argue, are, but that aren't actually moving the needle in a big way or what it is that we need right now. And like I say, in this phase of business, I'm talking to you guys who are in the first few months, or maybe people who are just still hitting a wall. Maybe you've been going for a bit longer but you're just not getting anywhere. Going back and looking at your branding is probably not going to make a huge difference. And creating a course, particularly if it's one where you're spending hours and hours creating it when you have no one to sell it to yet, is probably not the best use of your time. And it's not to say that you shouldn't be doing these things. If you just feel like, I really want to do this, it just feels like a calling, it just feels really good to me, go there, do it, go for it. Honestly, there's no, again, you do you. That's the most important thing here. But what I would love for you to do is to get really honest with yourself and ask yourself, am I doing this because I don't want to do the marketing that I'm not really comfortable with yet? And if that's the case, then that's fine. Maybe you come to the marketing that you feel a bit uncomfortable with later, and that's okay too. So it's really just about it's really asking yourself that question, because a lot of us do that. A lot of us will create the stuff and do all the creative, like fun stuff, but actually what we really need to be doing to move the needle in our businesses is the getting out there, talking to people, marketing ourselves, putting ourselves in front of people, the stuff that can, for if you're a bit introverted or it's just not your thing, can feel a little bit uncomfortable. So we need to find a balance with all of this. And like I say, if you're happy for your business journey to take longer, then just do the stuff that feels comfortable. That's totally fine. And again, your gut will send you on the journey that you need to go on, I believe. So that's totally fine. But this is a bit of advice for myself. Sometimes I will like just create something new or do other things when actually I probably could do a bit more on the marketing front. I could do things a bit differently on the marketing front. But at the same time, sometimes I'm also like, you know what? Like, I'm happy. I'm enjoying myself on a day-to-day basis. That's okay too. So it's just something to remind yourself of, basically. So I hope that's been helpful. Like I say, I just feel like for that particular point in time when it is really tricky in your business, it's just really hard, and it is just really hard. It can feel like you're doing all the right things and getting nothing back, and sometimes it's a bit like climbing a mountain, and it can feel like, oh my god, I'm so far away from the top, but actually what you can't see is that you're so close to summiting it, and then once you get over that, the top of the mountain, it's all like free and easy. You can build that momentum up as you go down the other side, and once you build momentum up, it does get easier. Like, it does start to become something that carries itself a little bit, and that's really amazing when that happens. So keep the faith in yourself, keep being consistent, listen to your gut, listen to your intuition, take some of that advice if it resonates. And if you need any support with this, if you want to join a container, like a program that is going to support you with all of this stuff, then Wholehearted Business, my 6-month group program, was literally created for you in that tricky part of business. And I really tailored the program to that specific bit because I know how hard it is, and I've really tried to put all of the awesome things in there. Like we have 6 milestones that you can progress through that will make sure that you are hitting all the things that you need to hit, but in a way that is aligned for you to help you grow your business and get more clients. Like I say, it's 6 months. We start off with a fun client getting activity, a little bit of market research. We review your offers, make sure that they are working. We look at your fast and cozy marketing, which again is something that I've talked about a little bit today, but that marketing that you really do need to get to grips with if you want to get the clients sooner rather than later. We look at your email list side of things. We look at your kind of baseline marketing, and then we look at fun marketing boosters as well. So it's just a really wonderful group program. If you want me to be supporting your business over 6 months with me on Voxer, me on calls with you, answering your questions, supporting you and all the other coaches who are in the program, please do check it out. It really is something I'm immensely proud of. I think it's a really great place. I think it's the best place, in all honesty, for health, life and spiritual coaches who are in that phase of their businesses. I genuinely feel that's the best place that you could be, to be supported, to help your business get more clients and to really get through that phase in 6 months so that you can start achieving the things that you want to achieve and making your business the business that you want to make it. So check that out. I'll put the link in the description if you want to take a look at Wholehearted Business. But I really hope that's been helpful. Like I say, I think so much of what we do, and this is why I work in this area with coaches, because coaching is just an interesting one. So many things we think about differently or do differently in the coaching industry for all sorts of different reasons. So I think it's really good to unpack some of that and just to get our heads around it all and think about how we can do things a bit differently too. But let me know if this has been helpful. Please do. Please give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment below. Please DM me on Instagram. I'm at WholeheartedLaura, and I will see you next week, guys. Take care. Bye.